Okay, we're live. You are watching the Arsenal Vision Live pre-match show for AFC Bournemouth v Arsenal. In fact, it is Arsenal v AFC Bournemouth. For those of you who have joined us, thank you. And for those of you who were trying to join us earlier and couldn't, basically, we don't know what we're doing. I am technically not competent, but that's not the only thing I'm not competent at, so that's okay. It also probably isn't great that I have this huge microphone and headphones in front of me. And Scott, you're the tech guy. You got to figure this stuff out, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the issue is. I mean, I can't get it to work with my actual webcam to actually do it, so I'm resorting to holding up my phone in front of my face.
To be fair, this is probably my fault. YouTube Live, not that anybody wants to know this or cares about this, has something called an encoder. I need to get an encoder, and then with the encoder, I can do all kinds of things. But right now, we're using just to hang out on air, which I don't think YouTube is really supporting very well anymore, if you can't tell. Let's do this. Let's go over the lineup. It has been announced, as it is wont to do. Leno in goal. Jenkinson gets the start. Socrates, Koscielny, Monreal, Kolasinac, Guendouzi, Torreira, Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang. Scott, he's gone for a back three at home. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Riot? Do we riot? I think we riot. What's he thinking?
I think we have to wait till the results out, and then we can really riot if we want to.
I mean, so you're saying save the riot till after the results?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, all right, let me ask you. I mean, honestly, we played really well in the back four at home against Southampton. Why do you think he's reverted? Do you think this is purely because the back three worked really well against Bournemouth away? Because that was where we first rolled it out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. So I think that, man, we were just playing so well. We were actually attacking well with the back four. I was excited to see it. I think it was something that was good for when we were playing these smaller teams. I guess the one thing that you can say is that because we have Spurs at the weekend, and we are likely to want to be more solid at that point, that he's probably, trying to get things comfortable with that setup. But man, I just liked it so much better when we had the back four.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't look. All right, well, so let's not beat that up just yet. First of all, what do you think about Jenkinson coming in at right back? It's a position that has plagued us. No Lichtsteiner available. Apparently, no Maitland-Niles available. Obviously, no Bellerin available. Is this sadly sort of the choice we are left with? And do you think maybe the back three is in some ways meant to just protect that right flank? The worry about leaving Jenkinson out there with only two center backs?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'm always excited for Arsenal fan Carl Jenkinson to get a start. And I think it's going to be, exciting. I am excited that Lichtsteiner is not in there because, I mean, honestly, nobody wants that. Although
he was good.
Fair,
he was good.
He wasn't bad. I know, but I like to beat him up anyway because, he's older than me and he's one of the few players that is still older than me, and I can say that. I really hope that Jenkinson has a good day. He's a pretty good attacker. He's not a horrible defender, but I mean, all things considered, I can see the needing the back three to help him out. But man, just go and attack Bournemouth, push him back.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so obviously, like, I would prefer for us to be a little more front-footed and not feel like we have to go with the back four. But Ozil starts, Aubameyang starts up front, Mkhitaryan alongside. I mean, how do you see that working? I mean, I'm trying to decide, is this going to be like a 3-3-2 or a 3-4-3? I mean, is that it with Ozil and Mkhitaryan sort of nominally wide?
You could make a point that it might be the
wait, stop. What's going on behind you? What's over your shoulder?
No back three.
I just noticed that. Okay, good stuff. All right, what were you saying? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I did mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I saw, it could be the three center backs, the two, wing backs, two midfielders, and then I think you might see Ozil in the 10, and then have Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan kind of as the nominal people in front. I was just kind of getting the props, from what you were doing last time with all of the.
Oh yeah.
So I was just getting in the spirit.
Back on top. Back on top. That's my bit. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, it looks like he's trusting Ozil at home now. Then I guess that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been enough of the issues that have just rolled around that it would be tough to leave him out again, and especially what we have. This is our third match in a week, or it's part of the three match in a week process. So he needs to rotate to be able to keep people fresh. So I think this probably means we're not going to see him against Spurs, which I kind of understand, and that'll probably be a decent tactical thing to go for.
So, all right. I mean, so my question with the Aubameyang thing, right? I love Aubameyang. I want Aubameyang to start. But, like, do you have any concern that this means it's going to be Lacazette up front for the derby? Because I have a hard time seeing Aubameyang play. What did we play? Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday. I mean, that's what it would be because there's no Lacazette at Rennes. So does this point to Lacazette starting and Aubameyang starting from the bench at Spurs for you?
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting, if things are going bad, he comes on at, like 60 minutes or so. And, it makes sense. We have two really good strikers, and it's important to be able to rotate them to get the most out of them, especially when you have the fixtures pile up like this. So I think that's going to be, important. So I hope that, Aubameyang is able to get a couple of goals today. Lacazette is awesome against Spurs, and then Aubameyang can go in and dominate against Rennes.
Is he a handsome man, in your opinion?
Yeah, I definitely say that he's a solid 8.5, 9.
Wow, he's up there for you then, huh?
Yeah, I really love the beard. The beard is what really goes it for me. I just because I can't grow one, so yeah.
I mean, I can. It comes in like I'm still going through puberty, which, let's face it, aren't we all always perpetually going through puberty?
Yes.
Well, okay, so it's Guendouzi and Torreira in midfield. Xhaka was really, really good against Southampton. He really progressed the play well, got it into those wide spaces, which is obviously how we want to break teams down. So is the pressure sort of on Guendouzi now that we saw Xhaka have such a good game at the weekend to come in and be able to sort of repeat that? And how do you think it differs in the back three? I think, Xhaka had a little more support at the weekend with the extra midfielder.
So yeah, I think that I'm excited now that he's gonna...
Emery out. Wait, what the fuck? This escalated quickly. What the fuck's going on, man? Why are we Emery out now? We're top four. We're top four, and we're still in the Europa League. What the fuck?
Hey,
By the way, I've been up since like 5 a.m. this morning and went to bed at midnight last night, so I'm a little punchy if that doesn't show up.
I'm always up at 5:15. That's what the alarm goes off.
But to be fair, you're one of those weird people that likes math and stats and doing spreadsheets and stuff like that.
That's true. I am special in that way.
I gotta level with you. I'm just jealous that I don't have a whiteboard. Can I get a whiteboard? I have a whiteboard. You know what? I'm gonna mute my camera.
Go bring it in.
All right, you talk.
I'll vamp a little bit. I think that's what they call it in the the business. So I am actually thinking that the rotation has actually been pretty good over the last couple of matches. That's something that I was definitely not on board with earlier in the season, and I think that that's actually been something good. So he's starting to rotate the midfielders, rotate the options up top, giving Iwobi a little bit of a rest. Trying to get some of the wing backs in and out. So I think it's going to be interesting. Moving over to a different game, I see that Chelsea has dropped Kepa, which I think is an interesting move, and I'm always down for some interesting issues over at Chelsea land. I don't know if Sarri's gonna be able to keep it out. He's got the whiteboard set up.
I told you I had a whiteboard. I do have a whiteboard.
There you go. It's got some pictures on it and everything.
Well, I have a toddler, so really my toddler has a whiteboard. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure that we're not getting too many reflections of me in my pants. Okay, Scott. Let's break down how we're going to attack today. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get tactical. So, here we go. This is Aubameyang, right? Opposition goal over here. What I expect is that Guendouzi and Torreira, we're going to want to feed it into the wings to Ozil and Mkhitaryan, who are going to try to cut it back, if you follow me, to Aubameyang, to put it into the net, or more likely, miss the big chance into Rosette. Now, my concern, Scott, And I'm
Whoa, whoa,
curious to
whoa!
get
Don't try to act all British here. You're American. We say Z.
Rosie. Sorry, Jesus. Okay, so here's my concern. I'm getting a little feedback off your headphones, by the way. Okay. Are we going to be missing that second runner into the box? Do you think that Aubameyang is going to lack support as we try these overlaps with Kola and Jenkinson, and we're trying to feed that ball? We're feeding. There's a lot of feeding. Who else is going to be in there to feast on all the feeding?
I think that it's going to be Mkhitaryan. That's going to be the one that they want to feed with the feasting.
No go zone. What the fuck?
That's Emery's tactics right there. We only attack down the wings. We do not attack from the middle.
So you're saying this area, the goal, we do not want any passes going in here.
Yes, it has
we want them coming from here. Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly how we. Well, as you can look at from Emery's Twitter, his background. There's lots of drawings, and this is exactly what it is once you decipher it.
I am literally doing this in my underwear, by the way. That is true.
No attacking from here. Everything must go here or here. Actually, more likely here, because everything comes down the left side.
You've got some skills on the whiteboard. You really do. I got to give it to you. That's some good, quick improv whiteboarding. But okay, so let's be serious for a tenth of a minute.
Okay.
I'm like out of breath from running to get a whiteboard. Do you think that we'll lack that second man in the box? I mean, the thing that I worry about with this formation, right, is that we're gonna have Mkhitaryan and Ozil sort of splitting and overlapping with Kolasinac and Jenkinson, right? Who's going to support Aubameyang in the box? Do we give Bournemouth too easy a job just focusing on one guy?
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a worry. Because Ozil's not a guy that's going to be a person who really gives those kinds of runs. He's one that tries to feed the runners. So that is a concern, and that is the thing that I struggle with this three-man attack, especially without Ramsey in midfield. I think if Ramsey was one of the midfielders, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with it because he is willing to do those kinds of runs. Guendouzi is a little bit more attacking-minded than say a Xhaka, but he doesn't really provide that thrust into the box that you get from Ramsey. So that is definitely going to be a worry. I guess it's really going to be a lot of it is going to be depending on Mkhitaryan to be able to support Aubameyang, and that's where I kind of think you might see it as a 3-4-1-2, if I'm getting my numbers right. So I think it is going to be both of those guys up top, kind of as a pair, but with the ability to both go wide and be able to interchange.
Yeah, well, so okay, let's talk a little bit about what's available off the bench. Once again, Denis Suarez on the bench. So I ask you, as I have asked on the podcast before, what is a Denis Suarez?
He's an enigma.
Wrapped in a conundrum. What is a Denis Suarez? What does a Denis Suarez do?
So that is a good question. And if we aren't going to use him in a game like this, I'm not really sure when the best time would have been, because I think that this would have been a perfect situation to stay with the four at the back, to move him in as the Iwobi rotation, to get him out, because he did extend his contract with Barcelona, so he's, if Arsenal do want him in the summer, they are going to have to pay the full 20 million euros or whatever it's going to be. But if they hadn't done that and they had basically, kind of talked to him and done the wink wink kind of thing and said, hey, run that contract all the way down, and you would have been able to possibly get him for an even cheaper deal next summer. Because if we're not going to use him now, what's really the point of having him just train with us? I guess he gets that extra 6 months of betting in time, but is that worth the 20 million that we may end up having to pay for him? And especially if we're not going to use him during the season for a rotation option where it would make perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm nervous. Like, I'm nervous about the reports that we're going to sign him. Watching Almiron play for Newcastle and create all these chances and stuff, that's a guy that we were supposedly interested in. Atlanta United. How do you feel about that? I mean, is that a move that to you maybe looks like a missed opportunity in comparison?
Yeah, we were
let me just stop you real quick. Did you hear the news? And this, I hate when news like this comes out because it feels like it's engineered to drive us crazy, which is what I do anyway. Did you hear the news that like we were interested, but we could only loan and we didn't want to pay for him, and so he went to Newcastle?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because that was the whole idea behind all of our winter business is that everybody was told we cannot make any permanent signings, so it makes sense. I mean, I thought that he's an interesting player. He really probably was far and away the best player in MLS. He's somebody that I'm actually interested in how he's going to be able to translate. Because that's one of the things that I look for from a stats perspective is how I'm able to take somebody's stats in a different league and see how they're translated to be able to get ideas, going forward. That's actually one of the big projects I have working on right now. Going back through looking at moves and being able to see how stats translate between leagues. So look for that in the summertime. So I think that he's an exciting player. I'm excited for Newcastle because I think Newcastle is a really cool team and I like them. They've always been, a team that I have a soft spot for. It was actually one of the teams when I first started getting into soccer. They were always an exciting attacking team, and I liked them. So,
Please call it football. Just so we don't have to deal with it. It's football. It's football. Football. Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, the point is we didn't get him. So let's talk about the players we do have. I mean, just real quick, what's your expectation?
2-1 to Arsenal. I don't
2-1.
You know what? It's going to be. I don't. Maybe we're going to get a couple set piece goals again, and that's how we're going to score.
Where's the threat come from on the Bournemouth side?
So I didn't get to see a chance to see the Bournemouth lineup. Did they have?
Let's go to
Ryan Fraser in, and
I mean the good news is we have some firepower in reserve. Let's see, Bournemouth. That's AFC Bournemouth. There we go. Lads in the house. Did they not give their team news? Let's see. Team news. There it is. Okay. Yeah, they're going with Boruk in goal, Gosling, Nathan Ake, Andrew Sermon, Musette, Jordan Ibe, Adam Smith, Joshua King, Nathaniel Klein, Ryan Fraser, and Chris Mempham. Mempham. Let's pretend that's a real person. What do you see? Klein and Fraser being the issue?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, Fraser is the big person. He's actually been one of the best players on the team and actually one of the best creators in the Premier League this season. So I think that he's going to be a person to really kind of get an eye on.
You happy to see David Brooks on the bench?
Yeah, I didn't see. Are you telling me he's on the bench?
Yeah.
So yeah, David Brooks, famous right wing, American pundit.
Yeah, well, yes, but that's not that David Brooks. We don't need any more politics today. There's probably plenty of people who aren't watching this stream because they're watching the shit show that is American politics today. So we certainly don't need that. What do you think? I mean, ultimately, in terms of people that could come on and change it, you have Lacazette. Do you expect him to play today?
I think he could get a 20-minute cameo at the end. I think if things go badly enough that he needs to play, that's probably not a good idea. But I'm hoping that he can come in, get fresh, get some minutes to, help keep him fresh for, the weekend.
And it's funny, right? Because if this was Arsene Wenger, you would be able to look at this and be like, okay, well, Iwobi rested, Lacazette rested, Ramsey rested, all those guys are going to play in the derby. But because Emery hasn't really rotated and we don't really know his rotation, we don't know if that means they're rested for the derby or that he's just rotating or they're maybe not preferred. I think it's interesting that Mkhitaryan is getting to play again. I mean, this is an older guy who's suffered with injuries. Do you think of all the people to rotate out, Mkhitaryan would have certainly been one to maybe consider?
It's possible, but I think that he does add the attack, he does add to the attack, and that's something that's been missing since he's been injured. He adds, the shots that, we haven't been getting from our non-strikers. Yeah. So that's actually a nice thing to see from him. So I will be interested to see if he actually does play on the weekend, because who would be able to come in from him unless they're going to go with, both Aubameyang and Lacazette for the weekend and push one of them to the side, out to the wing with Iwobi on the left.
Yeah, I mean, I got to level with you. Like, I think the issue with this squad, and we've talked about it a lot, is just there's not a lot of goals in it. I mean, outside of Aubameyang and Lacazette, there aren't. And Mkhitaryan did get on the score sheet against Southampton, it was badly needed, obviously. And so I think if you leave him out and you start Iwobi in this game, or you started Dennis Suarez, who has no history of scoring goals, then you look at it and you say, all right, well, it's Aubameyang and no one, right? I mean, isn't that really the problem right now, that no one shoots? We just don't have anybody who takes any shots.
Well, I mean, that's why you get Granit Xhaka on, then he can, start, sending in pot shots.
Right. Nobody takes good shots is sort of what I was saying. Okay, so let's move on to a couple other things real quick. We didn't really talk about it on the last podcast that much, so I think it's worth talking about. Have you ever refused to leave any area that you were being removed from? Like, I don't know, the goal?
Personally, I have never been, escorted out or, refused to leave. I've been escorted out of a few places, but, I guess that would stand. And, oh man, I guess I'm practically a Kepa in. Yeah, that was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. That was a pretty interesting match. I thought it was a pretty nice, actually, recovery from Sarri. I thought that he adapted well to the big defeat that they had the previous meeting. So I actually thought that, he had got Chelsea playing pretty well, and that actually disgusts me that I actually have to say that. But then it all coming crashing down at the end was just absolutely perfect. And then actually the topping, the icing on the cake, was David Luiz missing his penalty, because him missing something is absolutely hilarious to me. Kepa, having the Aguero penalty slip through his hands, it was all perfect. Sarri throwing his fit, trying to storm out, and then thinking back against it. And yeah, I think he should have just resigned on the spot and just left, Wembley.
It was pretty funny. Well, guess what? Kepa is on the bench tonight. Caballero starts in the nets for Chelsea, but he is on the bench. All right. For everybody watching right now, I don't want to say thanks to everybody who is watching, and I know this is a little rough around the edges. We'll get better at this. There's no guarantee we'll get better at this, but we're going to try to get better at this.
I think we got Octavia out here, doing something in our chat.
Do we? In our chat?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, the chat. How are you seeing our chat? I have to switch screens to see the chat. Do you have to do that too?
No, you want to see what I got? See, I got this one. I got you on the big screen behind
me
here. Yeah,
okay.
So there you are.
And you see the chat and I don't.
Yes. So he is really pushing for us to go to some sort of a live stream. Oh, now Karen's, got it.
Oh, are we getting inundated with live stream suggestions?
Yes.
I don't know about that. Oh boy, Karen. Oh, Karen. Oh, Karen.
Oh, now it's Dee Dee. Oh boy, we got all sorts of good people.
I apologize to anybody. I probably have the ability to disable that, don't I? Or stop. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Yeah, fuck off, stream spammers. If anybody knows how to stop the stream spammers, just let me know, because I don't really know how. Put user in timeout. There we go. Users in timeout. Now, oh gosh, here they come again.
It's everybody. So I mean. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you.
This is an issue to.
This is new to us. This is kind of fun, though. Doesn't it make you feel like we're relevant? That you got people spamming streams into our chat?
Yep.
All right. Well, if anybody has a recommendation of how to stop stream spammers.
I don't know if posting in the chat would be good, because we won't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't be able to see it. That's an interesting point. Well, anyway, you know what? There's probably some way to get a moderator. We'll work on that for next time. Consider that something we can improve on. Let's talk about the Chelsea Spurs game. So, as an Arsenal fan, help me, another Arsenal fan, understand the right way to root for the Chelsea Spurs game.
I mean, I think you got to root for a draw and both teams dropping points. I don't think anybody in their right mind can really choose one of them to be a winner. That's just disgusting. Either way. Yeah, I mean, you can't really root for them. I totally get that. But all right, am I wrong to suggest that? Look, I would love to catch Spurs. That would be great. Okay, I would love that. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, and I think that rooting for a draw in Chelsea Spurs is fine. But Chelsea losing here and continuing to maybe implode and just fall totally out of the top 4 race is really so strongly in our interest. I'm not saying I would root for Spurs. So put rooting aside, because I know we're not allowed to say we'd root for Spurs, okay? Is there a scenario
can you at least acknowledge that Spurs winning could potentially be the best scenario for us? Not that you're necessarily going to root for it. Stuart Stapleton says mass brawl points deducted for both teams. Yes, I agree. I would root for that.
I would very much enjoy that.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you say truthfully? Oh, good point. Bacon Luigi says, but do we want Sarri sacked? I don't think we want Sarri sacked, but I think if he gets sacked, it could hasten the collapse. I think they're on the brink. So isn't it fair to say, Scott, that while none of us want to admit it, a Spurs win for our season and our ambitions is probably the best?
Yeah, it really is ideally with the goal of top 4 in mind. Spurs winning is the ideal outcome and the one that we would prefer to happen. I guess as a fan, you don't want either of the teams to be happy. So that's kind of the things that complicate it. I actually, Manchester United going through an injury crisis as well. I wouldn't mind Chelsea going through a full-on collapse where there's a revolt, amongst the players. Everything seems to be breaking Arsenal's way. So that actually all seems nice.
Yeah. I mean, so then as far as United, I mean, that's a game that's on the horizon too. How do you want Emery to balance Sunday, then the Europa League, then the United tie? I mean, or United game. So I actually see Spurs away as tricky because the derby is one of the most important games we play in a season. And yet I would argue that both Rennes and United are more important because while the derby is so important, I'm not trying to say it isn't. I think you could argue that losing at Spurs is not fatal to our season, but we absolutely must beat United and obviously get past Rennes. So what do we do? I mean, how do you think we should approach the next 3 fixtures?
Man, so it's the first leg of the tie against Rennes. Is that at home?
That is away. It's away.
It's out away. So yeah, I mean, I think you got to really go after that one. Yeah, so you want to get those away goals, which is something that we didn't do. Going to Tabate, and it really made the home leg a lot more stressful than it really needed to be because watching them, they were a bad team. So this is something. I think there was a message in here from Sasha in the comments saying that. A Spurs win is also not a great idea because that kind of gives them, riding high going into the Arsenal match this weekend. So that's something that's probably not great either. So there's really not really a good thing there, I guess, from that match. So I guess root for a draw, root for all sorts of bad things to happen in that match. And hopefully Arsenal can, come in strong. I lost my video for a second.
No, that's fine. I noticed. Did it say "sorry ball forever" behind you? Is that what's going on?
It is. I am. Yeah. Sorry ball forever.
This was my whiteboard. In case anybody missed it, we did a little whiteboard exercise here. We sort of showed tactically how Arsenal should attack, and I think what we saw, in case you missed it earlier, again, we're going to try to get it to the wings and fire in those crosses to Aubameyang. And the worry we had, again, with just the 2 midfielders, Torreira and Guendouzi, is anyone going to be following into the box with Ozil and other guy, Kolasinac out here, Jenkinson and Mkhitaryan out here? Is Aubameyang going to wind up isolated? I think that's going to be the story of the game, is can we get Aubameyang some support on the box to get onto those crosses and those cutbacks? Scott, I really think Aubameyang's movement is spectacular. He had a couple of opportunities against Southampton, but he's scuffling a little bit. I mean, he hasn't scored now in a bit that I can think of. You concerned about his form at all?
You know what? I'm not, at all. And part of the reason I'm not worried about it is because this is something that he is known to do. He is not known to be the greatest finisher of all time, but he is somebody who is really well known at getting into these good spots. So I think a little bit in the early part of the season where he was basically converting all of his chances is something that is setting up for a kind of false expectations of what he is. He is a guy that is probably about a par finisher and somebody that, while he is not a bad person at getting goals, he is not someone that you expect to vastly outperform his expected goals. So I think that it's good news that he's continuing to get into good chances for shooting, and I hope that he's able to keep doing that.
Yeah, I hope so too. There's a new message on the whiteboard. You're Team Juve now, huh?
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, Szczesny and now Ramsey. Yeah, I'm all.
Are you on the
Bianconeri
Vision podcast? Or is that are they the Bianconeri?
I don't
know. Is that AC Milan?
Whatever, white and black is in Italian.
It's gosh, the chat's probably already got that. Are they the Bianconeri guys, or are they? Is that Milan? I get this wrong all the time. The old lady. You can be on the old lady Vision podcast. That's a different thing, man. That is the old lady Vision podcast. Yeah, the old lady. AC Milan is a Rossoneri. Yeah. So it's the Bianconeri, right? Yeah. Black and white.
So that sounds white, black and white.
Yeah, old lady. I know they're the old lady. The old lady Vision podcast, though. Man, do not Google that. Do not go track that one down. We are closing in on kickoff here. Just a few minutes left. We're going to reiterate our score predictions. You have it as 2-1.
I do.
Yeah.
And I did say, I think I'm going to say 2 set piece goals as well.
I mean, that's on brand for us right now. I'm going to say, I'm going to say 4-1 Arsenal. 4-1 to the Arsenal. I think Aubameyang is going to go nuts today. I think he's going to have a big game. How do you expect Jenkinson to play, by the way?
I don't know. I have no expectations. I hope that he doesn't embarrass himself. That's the only expectation that I have.
You hope he doesn't embarrass himself. Should we?
Yes.
What should we do with our last couple of minutes? You got any thoughts? What do you want to share? What are you working on?
All right. Well, so right now I'm working on actually going back and collecting stats from all of the Big 5 leagues going back to 2011-12. That's been my big project that I have going on. And I'm about 90. If I pull up my tracker here, let's see. I am 95% complete.
95%.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So close. Oh, you're playing some music? I didn't know this was a talent of yours.
No, it's not. Ooh, that's pretty flat though. That's not going to work. So when are you going to have that ready, Scott?
Probably, probably in the next couple of days, maybe by the weekend.
By the weekend?
Yeah. This is top quality content. We've run out of things to say about.
We have run out of things to say. I think we should probably say goodbye. It's almost kickoff. Look, are you good for a post-match podcast maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. You've been doing great work over on the Discord chat. If anybody doesn't know, over on the Patreon side of things, we have set up a Discord chat. It's a private chat room. It's actually kind of fun. It's not as sexual as it sounds, I assure you. It is great. And Scott's been posting radar requests and things like that. So Phony Montana says, please God, no. No to the guitar, no to the singing. I will sing. How about a little Bare Naked Ladies? Anybody like Bare Naked Ladies? Do you know that? Do you know them?
Of course I know that.
Drove downtown in the rain, 9:30 on a Tuesday night. That wasn't very good.
How about some Smash Mouth, the greatest Giants fans of all time?
Smash Mouth?
Oh, yeah. The big San Francisco Giants baseball fans. Getting the hate against Bryce Harper not signing with the Giants.
I think we can do that on another podcast. All right, so join us on the Discord chat. There is a sort of bet going on. I used to have a demo album out that you cannot find anywhere on the internet, and people are searching for it. And there's a prize to anyone who can find it and post it. But I don't know that anybody's going to. We're going to come back with a podcast tomorrow. We will have a mailbag podcast coming up on Patreon, which is going to be a Would You Rather mailbag. So it's like the Would You Rather pod we did, if you heard it, but it's provided, questions provided by you, which is going to be fun. Scott, I appreciate you doing this, man. I know this was a little weird. It got a little weird with the whiteboard. What's the last thing on your whiteboard? Any final messages for them?
Changed yet.
You love Ramsey. You think he'll play today?
I hope he gets.
Drove downtown in the rain. 9:30 on a Tuesday night, just to check out the late night record shop. Call it impulsive, you can call it compulsive, you can call it insane. We're going to go. Up the Arsenal.
There we go.
I hope everyone has a good time. We'll do more of these, better ones that work, ones that don't have this crap. More whiteboard, I'm sure, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I think the whiteboard was a nice touch.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for doing this. We will we'll do better at scheduling them. There'll be graphics. There'll be all kinds of stuff. Just imagine how technically advanced this is going to be. And you'll be able to say, I was there when it was terrible, and now it's just marginal. We love you, and we look forward to talking to you on the podcast after, and seeing you in the chat. Scott, thanks. You can find Scott on Twitter at _that_crab. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. I'll be in the Discord chat as well.
Yeah, my name's Elliot. Oh, Match Day chat over there too, so join us for that. My name's Elliot Smith. You can block me on Twitter. Yankee Gunner gives a 5-star review. Write nasty things about me and my singing, my guitar, my physical appearance. That's something that definitely needs to be criticized more than it is on a day-to-day basis. We love you, and we'll talk to you after Arsenal 10. Bournemouth 0.